Okay, there we go. We live. Good evening, everyone.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Oh man. So we should finally get out of Genesis this week.
Maybe.
This is I know maybe we only got like 8 chapters. Oh man. We left off on 42. 42. Oh man. So
First,
well,
we gotta tell the people. Okay, y'all, welcome
uh,
to our weekly Bible study that is held every Monday at 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. We are Antoine and Lencia Marshall, Elder Antoine and Lencia Marshall. And we're just excited to be doing this Bible study with you guys. Let me go ahead and say, if you would like to join us to where you can be interactive, hey y'all, and okay, at least if you would like to be able to take yourself off mute, then you can go to, let me see if I post a link in the comments, if you guys will be able to see it. Let's see. I don't know where to go.
you broke it.
I probably did. I don't know. Oh, there you go. There you go. There you go. There you go. I'm probably doing this wrong because my virtual assistant normally do this. Good evening. So I put the link on there. If you go down to, oh, there you go. There you go. If you want to join us on Zoom, then click that link, join the actual Bible study group, and you can join us on Zoom, to where you can take your phone off mute and join in the discussion. So, thank you guys for coming. Let's go through these preliminaries real quick. So, the Bible study book, we have partnered with the Bible study book. So we use this as a guide. We don't really go through it as they are in there, because otherwise we would have Genesis
Yeah.
forever ago. However, we use it as a guide. So I'm very excited. Some of our patrons on Zoom have new Bibles. They got new Bibles. They listen. This Bible study is not just about talking about the Bible, but definitely teaching people how to study the Bible and giving different tips and tools that may work, because everything doesn't work for everyone. But we found out that we have a study Bible. Well, I have mine first. I've had this Bible. So let me tell y'all, this is funny. Nana, do you remember when we went to Hibachi like years and years and years ago? Y'all, this is a funny story. When we went to Hibachi, and you told and you told Zion.
Hey.
So we go to Hibachi Grill, y'all.
Hey.
We go. I don't even remember the actual name of the place, but we went to a hibachi
I don't
place.
even think that place is there anymore.
I don't think it is either. It was on
behind Living
Roosevelt,
Word,
right?
in the
Right next to Living
right
Word.
next to their bookstore.
So we go, and like I think it was like children under a certain age. I don't know if they ate free or under 4. So we go, and so Dana tells Zion, tell the people you 4. And my kid's crazy, y'all. She was loud with it too. I'm not 4. I'm 5.
Hey, them, hey,
Right. She was 6
look,
and AJ was 5.
hey,
It was hilarious.
hey, mama.
Look,
that's my niece, y'all.
yes, she over on Zoom. Hey, TT baby. Hey. So, and they joined. Look, my niece and my nephew be on our Bible study every week. But in that, the reason why I brought the story is because that's how long ago I've had that Bible. Like Zion was 6,
right. So that was
and
like
she's 17 now.
11 years ago.
Yeah, so I had that Bible for a while, but I gave up my secret sauce on how I study, and so
it held up good.
It did. It did. But I had like 6 Bibles and I had gave a couple of them away.
But does that mean you don't use it a lot?
Lies you tell, buddy. You better ask about me. You better ask the Lord about me. No, I'm just kidding. But no, so congratulations to Takara for getting her new Bible, her new study Bible. It is so exciting when people are learning about Christ and they are excited about it. And so she got her Bible and she said she overnighted her Bible. So to make sure that she could have it for this week.
She wants to play with
Not at all. She wasn't for none. So we will jump in. We are still in the book of Genesis, y'all. We're trying to get out of Genesis this week.
We should be good this week.
We should be good this week. So we should finish up Genesis this week. I do want to say this though. In this book, they go through the books, one book of the Bible every week. And
which is possible to do, but for people learning early on and stuff like that, it can be a lot, and just the time requirement can be a lot for somebody who doesn't read regularly. And again, we're not reading just to say we read. Oh, I read the Bible in the year, but if I read the Bible in the year and I don't have full understanding or at least good comprehension of what it is that I've went over, then it really didn't do me any good. A lot of people have that mindset. Oh, well, I read the Bible back and forth before. Well, what did you gather from it? And, like I said, we're not in it just for the sake of saying we read the Bible. We're in it to actually dive in, get to understanding, and apply this stuff to our natural life.
Period. So with that being said, we literally have gone through every single chapter of Genesis. We did not skip any chapters. We went through, found a lot of revelation in Genesis. So we are at chapter 42. There are 50 chapters. So y'all praying that we make it to chapter 50 tonight. Y'all praying?
We're gonna get through it.
All right, come on, let's go.
So at 42, like you said, we pick up basically where Joseph has finally made it from, as this sermon that preachers love to say, from the pit to the palace. He just finally hit the palace, and he good to go, right? So he's number 2 in command at this point. And we started off where he's talking about the famine, and the brothers have been sent to Egypt to get grain so they can survive basically at this point. And the famine at this point is not just hit Egypt, but it's hit pretty much the surrounding areas and the nations around them as well. One of the things I thought important to bring up, in the Bible, it was talking about the grain and why it was that they had him store the grain and all that stuff for so long. And so understand, back then, grain was something that it was precious. It was just as precious, in fact, as pretty much probably more than any other food, because of the fact that you could store it for far longer than you could meats or milk or vegetables or different things like that they had back in those days. It actually even says one of the study Bible key points that it highlighted was the fact that in those days money was even used as currency. That people actually, grain was used as currency in that same time frame. And so that just shows the amount of high value it was in that time.
I'm sorry.
No, you good.
Oh, you good. Just mute yourself. No worries.
Good.
Welcome.
So let's see where we are, Jacob. In 42, then one of the things we talk about, and if you guys have anything that you like to add, one of the reasons we have the Zoom is so you guys can communicate. If you like to add something about it, or we got some questions here and there that we pick up. Definitely feel free to jump in. So in 42, it starts to talk about Jacob and how Jacob was fond of Benjamin. Does anybody know why Jacob was so fond of Benjamin? It's actually a few reasons why he was like, Benjamin was his new favorite son since Joseph was now gone.
Hey,
Mercedes.
So come on, Miss Woodridge. Why was Benjamin the favorite son?
Well, number one, remember that Benjamin and Joseph were the sons of the wife he wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And Benjamin was the baby. even though he favored Joseph more so than Benjamin before, but now Joseph is gone, so Benjamin is the new Joseph.
And so remember that now, and it's kind of like most people in those times. It wasn't just that he favored, like you said, one, we have Rachel and Jacob's son, first son, Joseph, this being their first son together. And remember, back in those times, the first son was the heir, and the person who basically inherited everything that the father and mother had once they passed on. So that was one of the reasons that he was that Joseph was initially Rachel and Jacob's favorite son. And so, like you said, then he had Benjamin. Joseph is believed to be dead at this point, and not only dead, but murdered savagely by wild animals, you know what I'm saying, from the lives of his brothers, bringing back this coat and telling their father, oh man, he's been torn to pieces by this animal, and so on and so forth. And so all he has at this point, because Rachel is dead, all he has that it reminds him of both Joseph and Rachel, the wife that he actually intended to be with and wanted to be with, is Benjamin pretty much at this point.
And his name is not Jacob. His name is
Israel. However,
Israel.
The Bible at this point is still calling him Joe.
But you know
and
what?
That's why I keep.
But this is the only one. I think Jacob is the only one where they, for this long of time, go back and forth.
Like afterwards.
Like for his name. Like y'all want to call him Jacob or y'all want to call him Israel?
Hey, at this point, his name has well been changed to Israel years ago. Go ahead, Ms. Woodridge.
Even
I can't
God
see.
still referred to him as Jacob.
Mm-hmm.
Surprisingly, even God still refers to him as Jacob.
That's interesting.
It is. And I think one of the points, and again, we talked about this a little bit, I want to say either last week or the week before. And it's just like, you say, okay, well, I'm no longer whatever my current name is. I'm going to go change my name. And, I'm a new person and this, that, and the other. And it's weird that normally you would expect something like that where people are still calling you this or that because of your character and this, that, and the other. But now Jacob is so far removed past any of these attributes that, previously, was why people called him Jacob in the first place.
Right.
But he's still, allowing, like I said, if it was me, oh man, the minute somebody said Jake, no, hold on, bro. That's not me no more. No, I'm sorry. Wrong person.
But you gonna share my Bible?
Go ahead.
You gonna share my Bible?
I'm not sure.
Y'all see he put my Bible all the way over there by him.
Oh, okay.
Oh, these men will claim anything. These men will claim all of your stuff.
Why did I hide your Bible though? Oh, all right.
Whatever.
Somebody was studying before we got on here
I
and catching up. No, I'm just playing.
Recalling what you read. No, I'm just kidding.
No, but so then from that point we go into Jacob's and his mini test, or Joseph rather, and his mini test of the brothers,
and not revealing himself to his brothers
because they come.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of odd to me because
that he didn't reveal himself?
No, not that he didn't reveal himself, that they didn't recognize him. But I guess the fact of his position, you know what I'm saying, and them thinking that this is an Egyptian, even if he looked, still like Joseph, you would automatically be like, well, no, that can't be him, you know what I'm saying? And because of there was no way that they would have even asked if he was Joseph or mentioned it, because of the fact that Egyptians were thought to be, you know what I'm saying, cultured people and all these things, and the nomads and the people in the surrounding areas were thought to be basically not really savages, but, not sophisticated, basically. Well, they weren't even allowed to eat together.
See, here's the thing, though. Like, here's the revelation behind it. If when you go from the pit to the palace, if in the palace you still look like the pit and the pit portion of you is still recognizable, then your mindset didn't change when you went from the pit to the palace. That means you're still carrying on, because a lot of times you know, like you put on makeup, you say when you look good, you feel good, right? But at the same time, it's a mindset thing, you know, like in your mind, you have convinced yourself that when you know, dress up, when you put on cologne, when you do your hair, that you feel good, that you look good, right? So if he still looked like what he looked like when they saw him last, then his mindset was still that of, you know what I'm saying, the pit Joseph.
Which, of course, at this point had to be an impossibility just because of the number of things that he had gone through in his life between just being from Potiphar's, you know what I'm saying, servant to being the person in the jail.
Joseph
that was
lost
like
his life, almost lost his life a couple of times. So, you know, close. I guess he could look a little different.
Does anybody know why Joseph, does anybody recall some of the tests that, or I'll say the first test or one of the tests that he tested his brothers with? I see Miss Woodridge already got her hand semi up. I'm trying to get somebody else.
Does anybody know what the first test that Joseph? Takara off mute. Okay, Takara.
He sent his brothers. Well, when the brothers came to visit him, to get some grain for the famine, they told him that, well, okay, let me try to work this right, because I know he sent them back to the father and told them to let them bring the Benjamin back to them. And look at me, I've been reading Exodus. And
no, you good, you good.
I love it.
In so many words, do they trust him? Like, if they gonna trust him, if they gonna do what he tell them to do when they come back, then he gonna do what he said he's gonna do. I think he's gonna get them food, or he's gonna get them something in there.
Yeah.
So verse 14 says, Joseph said to them, "It is just as I told you, you are spies."
Miss
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Miss Woodridge. Oh, she said, go ahead. Joseph said to them, "It is just as I told you, you are spies, and this is how you will be tested. As surely as Pharaoh lives, you will not leave this place unless your youngest brother comes here. Send one of your number to get your brother. The rest of you will be kept in prison so that your words may be tested to see if you are telling the truth. If you are not, then as surely as Pharaoh lives, you are spies." And he put them all in custody for 3 days. And then on the third day, Joseph said to them, "Do this and you will live, for I fear God. If you are honest men, let one of your brothers stay here in prison while the rest of you go and take grain back for your starving household. But you must bring your youngest brother to me so that your words may be verified and that you may not die." This they proceeded to do. That was the first test.
And it's
sorry, could y'all tell me where you guys are at so I can follow along?
Absolutely.
Genesis 42 through 50 is what we're trying to cover today.
42?
Yep.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I'm sorry. What's your name? I can't see your name.
That's Latoya.
Okay. My light just super bright, so I couldn't see.
It's okay.
But yeah, so we're at like we're saying at Genesis, and Joseph is now beginning to test the brothers because, you know, and it's one of those things, it looks like, to where, like he said, he could have revealed himself instantly to his brothers and, you know, been happy to see his brothers. But remember, the last thing he recalled from his brothers is, you know, watching them as they selling him off into slavery, and pretty much, you know, him literally being in terror and pleading and begging for them for help while they're, you know what I'm saying, just like, okay, well, we done with this dude. We ain't got to deal with this arrogance and this craziness no more. And at that time, like I say, it says when the story starts, Joseph is 17 years old. So it's somewhere around that time frame. He may have been a little older, but we know it was pretty close between that 17-year age when he was sold off. And so here we also have finally Reuben begins to speak up. You know what I'm saying? Because now all of a sudden,
here we go with Reuben.
Now all of a sudden he want to use his authority. He want to say something about their misdeeds and things of that nature. But a few years too late, after your brother had been tortured and all type of other things, for all you know, may actually be dead. And I'm still wondering, like, I wonder, did they actually ever tell him that Joseph wasn't dead? Because remember, when they sold him off to the slave traders, he was gone. While he was gone, You know what I'm saying? He last left Joseph in the cistern, and from there he comes back. He gone. He furious. He yelling at the rest of the brothers, but he could have deaded the whole thing and never had to be a situation in the first place.
Can I just, okay, so we talking about names, right? The name Reuben.
Mhm.
You remember when Reuben Stutter had that song, I'm Sorry? Reuben still apologizing.
Okay,
from the Bible.
okay. I can't.
He's still apologizing. So that name, Reuben, it comes with being apologetic.
Oh, okay.
So much so that Reuben Stutter made a whole song about it.
Oh, okay.
That's why you got to be careful what you name your children.
It's crazy. And then the funny thing at this point now, when he's saying something to them now all of a sudden, oh well, God is punishing us and all this stuff. Really,
he had an epiphany.
You got an epiphany all these years later, but you didn't think to stop them from acting a fool in the middle of them acting a fool.
Where you at? I'm
still in, okay. One more thing. I just want to say one more thing about 46. Notice how Joseph is treating them so harshly, but even in treating them harshly, when he allows them to leave, not only does he overfill their sacks with extra grain more than what they've actually paid for, he still, has this sense of and it just shows the difference between Joseph as an adult compared to Joseph as an arrogant, foolish child. You know what I'm saying? Now he's still, even in this test or whatever, to see how, if his brothers are going to be honest, he still has a sense of compassion. And oh my God, my brothers are in this family. My family is in this famine. Let me make sure I give them more grain than they need. And on top of that, he gave them all the money back that they brought in to buy the grain in the first place.
So throughout the entire chapter 42, Joseph doesn't reveal himself. No. He doesn't reveal himself until chapter 43. And he don't reveal himself to chapter 43. And so it says that he didn't reveal himself. It says that Judah was actually the reason why Joseph revealed himself. It was Judah's words as to why Joseph revealed himself. Why? What you got? What you got?
I'm just checking my notes. No. He didn't reveal himself in 43.
Okay, you're right. He revealed himself in 44.
40, yeah, I think it was 44. 45.
Okay, 44.
Yeah, but so no. What that I know what you're referring to though. So in 43, it talks about as Judah is telling the story of, or talking about everything that's happened and how, oh my God, we can't allow Benjamin this, that, and the other. What you're talking about is Judah getting Israel, and now it actually refers to him as Israel in chapter 43 instead of Jacob. It refers to him actually getting Israel to allow him to take Benjamin back with them, and to a point of almost frustration, because he's like, hold on, man, if you had let us go, we could have been twice over now at this point back and got our brother and came back now. And so in 43, he's telling them about that, because it talks about the famine actually worsening in this time period. Mm-hmm. So a little time must have taken place where, okay, well, he didn't just let them, they had to actually convince Israel to allow them to take Benjamin. And rightfully so. The last time I left one of my sons in y'all hands, one of my Rachel sons, we're going to call them the Rachel sons, because they were special. The Rachel sons meant more than everybody else, I guess. So we're going to call, so he leaves Joseph in their hands, and he never sees Joseph again. So of course, at this point, I'm even older, I'm even grayer, you know what I'm saying? I can't take this pain again, which probably also brought up memory recall. And now I'm dealing with that on top of the risk of now losing Benjamin, in addition to losing Joseph.
Absolutely. And do you think that Joseph was suspicious? Because in chapter 42, it's talking about
Jacob?
No, Judah was suspicious because he was talking about how this man asked all these questions and specific questions about his family and about his father. So do you think that Judah was suspicious? And like, man, could this be our brother?
So I
You know
don't.
what I'm saying?
And so when I was reading, it was saying when he answered Israel, he was like, because Jacob asked him, he like, well, Israel asked him, well, why did you even reveal to him that you had a younger brother? Like of course, they're arguing at this time. They're in a heated debate. And
Absolutely.
he like, why did you even reveal that you had a brother at this time? Because there was no way for him to know this. I wouldn't even be in this bind to where now I got to risk giving you my other son, my only son left.
He was like, why you
know
showed your
and my
hand?
youngest son.
Yeah.
And so when when they went, you know what I'm saying, Joseph was just acting as if he was having normal conversation.
Right.
In which case they would have been truthful either way it goes, because of course you coming here on the humble, this is the person in charge of everything, and I'm asking you for something, even though I'm paying for it, they still didn't by right have to give the Hebrews anything.
Correct.
And so yeah, they like I say, they're in a little debate at this point, you know what I'm saying? And it talks about not just when he finally did give in, he was like, well, I tell you what, don't just take back the money that they gave you back. Bring them the money that they gave you, and on top of bringing them the money that they gave you, give them extra money, give them extra incense and balm and all this other stuff that they were that were basically at this point something that Egyptians didn't have readily available to them. So they were given extra stuff to try and sweeten the deal. Okay, well, hey, let's get our brother back and make sure that he knows that, hey, we didn't steal this money, you know what I'm saying, when they came back.
You got anything else for chapter 43?
No, the only thing I had extra for 43 was look at this versus them in the past. I guess they figured they'd get ahead of the story. They told Jake they weren't finna let him accuse them this time when they got back in the house, because they were so nervous. He done already locked us up for 3 days. After letting most of us go, he still got one of our brother who's been here for several other days, because remember the journey back, the time that you done wasted, and the journey back here again. We've got all this gone past. So now, you know what? Hey, let us get ahead of the story. They came to confess to Joseph's steward that, hey, we got this thing and it may have been a mistake and so on and so forth. And we didn't steal, basically. So we don't know what's going on, but we got your money back. We brought it back and we brought extra stuff for you. And one of the things I just wanted to make sure we notated was, you know what I'm saying, look at what happened in this situation. God used the famine to reconnect Joseph with his family. And it talks about Judah, you know what I'm saying, like you said, Judah accepting responsibility in this passage, compared to the opposite of where in the past they weren't like, they weren't accepting responsibility. They were trying to get rid of the father, thinking anything could have been that they did something bad, saying that, oh, well, a wolf or whatever must have eaten them, tore them up or whatever. And this passage, they're so different than they were. They're willing to accept full responsibility for everything that's happened. And you know what? Take me instead of my brother. That's a complete opposite for Judah being the one who actually sold him.
I mean, going over to 44, really how Judah even responded and his love and how he actually covered Benjamin and how he was sacrificing for his brother is why Joseph was like, okay, they done changed, or at least Judah has. So he like, listen, Judah done changed. So they're not the people who, they're not the brothers who sold me into slavery or who even wanted to kill me. So
Ooh.
What?
No, quick question. Hold on, Miss Woodridge had her hand up.
Yes.
But all the brothers seem to have a completely different perspective on life at this point, because even Reuben was ready to give up his son. Okay. Reuben was ready to give his sons up. He was like, "I'll bring this boy back.
Yeah.
You can kill my son."
Both of them.
And I think that's deep.
Yeah, that
means like, I'm gonna protect this boy's life with all costs, and if I don't, then you take my kids for his life.
Probably because
so I think that showed like a great deal of maturity for all
And they also had, at this point, understand they had also experienced the grief that
Right.
that Israel went through.
Right.
You know what I'm
That
saying?
part. They
At the
saw
loss
him. Yeah.
of
They saw him
Joseph
grieving
the
somebody
first
who
time
wasn't
around.
even dead.
And it's like, oh my God, hold on. We can't send him through this again. And again, he's way older at this point. So they literally saying like, man, this will kill my father. He can't take this again. And they didn't want to, you know, bear Luke being the reason. He
Right.
literally said, you know what I'm saying? Are you going to make me the reason that my father, you know, dies? And just a quick question. My question was, did anybody understand why Joseph used the cup as you know, the thing that he hid in Benjamin's sack?
You want me to answer?
Sure.
It was a sign of authority, and the fact that it was silver.
Not it was that, and the fact that in those times this was Egyptian practice. So Egyptian practice was they used this cup, the people of authority, to predict the future. And what they would do, they would pour, you know, from looking at it, it says that they would pour into the cup. And as they were pouring into the cup, you would have the bubbles and the ripples and even images and things of that nature showing up into the cup. And this is one of the ways they were, you know, they, in their tradition or in their beliefs, predicted the future. So people who had these cups, this one just like, oh, he stole a cup out my crib. This was probably an Egyptian, in their practice, one of the most important cups in their house. This guided them and how they, you know, led their household and everything else. And so now, in the same breath, the reality was it had no value to Joseph at all, because remember, everything he's hearing from God. So he's not practicing this ritual,
Right. He's
even
not
though
practicing
he's
divination.
given
Yeah.
the authority and given the cup and everything of that nature. He's not really practicing the traditions of the Egyptians at all, because like I said, he's hearing from God, he's getting dreams, and he has all these things. So this isn't
But he
something
knew
he's
they
actually
would.
practicing.
He knew somebody
But he
would know
knew
what that
that,
meant.
yeah,
though,
it
right?
was something
Even though
of
he
very
don't.
value. And also notice how the 180 of the brothers at this point, like you say, when they sold Joseph off, they was cool. They was glad. They was finally glad to be rid of him. Here in the situation with Benjamin, it literally says they're tearing their clothes off in such grief and anguish because of the thought of them losing him. That was a great sign of deep sorrow in those times. And so that was one of the things that happened in the issue, to where, like you said, like I said, Judah is now ready to exchange his life for Benjamin's, where he once sold off Joseph.
So going over to 45, and I said in the chapter 44, but it's not. It's 45 and 2.
Yeah,
is where Joseph reveals himself.
he breaks down.
He definitely breaks down, and he reveals himself. And his brother's like, he's like, "Is my daddy still alive?" And they like, they're like, "This." Okay, they was like, "This Negro finna kill us."
Look, imagine
he finna kill us.
Imagine being his brothers, though. You not only,
I think they probably peed on.
I was just gonna say, they probably had a brief moment of relief, because it's like, okay, man, we ain't finna lose Benjamin, but also at the same time,
right, but we finna
like,
lose
what
our
this
life,
mark finna do to us because we sold him. Go ahead, Miss Woodridge.
I'm glad that you brought that up about the cup, because I was kind of confused about that. About what is it? Verse 44, verse 5,
Mm-hmm.
where it says, "Is this not legend?" Where it says, "Is not this in which my Lord drinketh, and whereby indeed he divineth?" So so that made sense that they used the cup to predict things.
Right.
You know,
it was like
that made that a bit more clear to me, because I didn't really get that part.
Yeah, it was like a religious, but it was basically like we do communion and different stuff like that. It was a religious practice that they did in Egypt at that time, and so that's what the value was of the cup, and why he used something of the cup, and why the servant who went to them was so over the top with it. Not like you stole a silver cup,
right?
But even the fact that the cup was silver, If it was just a regular cup, it wouldn't have been silver. But this cup was silver to, like you said, it was something of high value for authority figures and stuff like that. Like I said, and they used it to practice. And some of the text it says divination, but basically to practice their, whatever reliefs. If he was in certain cultures, they would be pagan beliefs or Egyptian beliefs. Just, they had different stuff like that.
So to just go, this is what the study Bible says Joseph's silver cup was a symbol of his authority. It was thought to have supernatural powers, and to steal it was a serious crime. Such goblets were used for predicting the future. A person poured water into the cup and interpreted the reflections, ripples, and bubbles. Joseph wouldn't have needed this cup since God told him everything he needed to know about the future. So that was the significance of the cup. So over in 45:2, Joseph breaks down and he tells his brothers, yo, it's me, y'all. And I just want to stop for a second and give some highlights about Judah. It says Judah was a natural leader, outspoken and decisive. He thought clearly and took action in high pressure situations. Clearly he took leader because it was Judah idea. Okay, anyway.
Yeah.
He was the fourth son of 12 through whom God would eventually bring David and Jesus the Messiah. This is why this is important. It was Judah's line. Like now we're getting closer and closer into the lineage of, Jesus, right? So through Judah is where David and Jesus the Messiah came through, right? So and it also says his weaknesses and mistakes was he suggested to his brothers they sell Joseph into slavery, and he failed to give his promise to his daughter-in-law Tamar. And what he has learned at this point by verse 45 or chapter 45, he's learned that God is in control far beyond the immediate situation. Procrastination often makes matters worse. And Judah's offer to substitute his life for Benjamin's is a picture of what his descendant Jesus would do for all people. So those are those are key things about Judah.
And Judah was Leah's son, not Rachel's. He was one of Leah's children.
He was. Okay, so we going
45.
through, we in 45. Joseph has revealed himself. Like it, and pretty much I think that's just the reconnect, right? Like that's
right.
Going through just the reconnection in chapter 45.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, and that's just
I think one of the important things about this Joseph says to his brothers, don't, basically he says don't fear at this point. So he letting his brothers know, hey, it's okay. Even the fact that you guys sold me into slavery was not just your doing. It was a part of God's plan to get me here and to be able to save you all and save the nations and save all of these people, even the Egyptians. And it was, it was funny to me that, he used this thing of, okay, well, I'm gonna send you through slavery twice over. You're gonna wind up in jail. You're gonna wind up, back in front of the Pharaoh, where we just seen, full well Pharaoh just chopped somebody's head off. So you make a mistake and it might not end too well for you, bro. But in all of that, now I'm second in command over all of Egypt, no matter what their title is or anything else, second in command. And it literally says, he says that God has placed me in the position of a father to Pharaoh.
Because it matters. It matters.
Go ahead, Ms. Woodridge.
I love that revelation. I think that was the most amazing part of that portion of the text when he revealed to them, like, don't be afraid. I know y'all thought it was you guys doing. It had nothing to do with you. It was all in a plan that God had already destined me for. So this was my destiny. Even though you guys did it for evil, this was my destiny. And I felt like that again was like an amazing amazing part of Joseph's development because he could have been like, remember what I told you? Remember that dream?
Right.
And he could have been vengeful.
Easily been back to look what's happening now. Remember my dream? But he was like, this was all God's plan. It had nothing to do with you guys at all. It was destined to happen that I be here so that I could preserve my lineage because God had already promised my forefathers certain things. So the only way I could preserve that is I had to be here. Lord help me.
So I would say this, right? Bringing it to modern day, right? Like, I think one of the best ways that we can heal from heartache quicker, because it's not that the heartache won't come, right? It's not that people won't hurt you. It's not that people won't leave your life. It is the healing process behind that, right? When you understand that some people have to fall away in order for you to grow and for you to go to the next level, it helps you heal a little bit quicker because it's a part of your journey. It's a part of your process. I wrote this ebook called The Power of Saying No. And I wrote this book during a time where our 9-year-old son, he had been diagnosed with autism. And I had so much stuff going on in life that I was like, listen, Lord, you know what I'm saying? Have you forsaken me? But throughout that journey, I understood, like, I'm not going to curse God. I'm not mad or nothing. I just got to do what I got to do because this is part of his journey. Like, I understood early on that this is for something greater. I don't know what this looks like later on, but I know right now that this is for something greater. I'm coming, Scar. And so, throughout his journey, he went from being nonverbal, just making sounds, to I actually have the video of when he said cheese for the first time. And so I'm like, yo, okay. And I was glad that I had my phone and was able to record that and posted it on social media, because people came back and was telling me that their children had been diagnosed with autism and was using his journey as like a point of faith for them. Like, if God did it for Bryson, he'll do it for my child, right? And so I think it is so amazing, and it helps us heal so much faster when things happen to us and when people do things to us, or when situations come up in our lives that we think we cannot handle, you know, that we understand that this is God's process, that this is a journey that we have to go through. Now Bryson will talk your whole ear off. He comes up with the most, you know, imaginative vocabulary words, not cuss words, but he know his dictionary and he uses his words. He might not pronounce them correctly, but he knows the word. So, you know, and that journey through that taught me something very valuable about accepting God's his plan, you know what I'm saying? And not being so focused on what I thought the plan should be, but just trusting him throughout that process. Go ahead, Takara.
Yeah, that's deep. I'm sitting up there, I'm literally like shaking because you know my story and my journey that I'm on, and it's like I'm not calling that. Miss Woodridge, like Mama said, you gotta really trust the process. In my process, you know, of course, the journey that I'm on, it led me back to church, and that's why I find like my healing is in church. And it's like the individual that betrayed me is now in my church. And I'm like, Lord, what is you, Lord? Now what you doing now? We got 3 services, Lord. Why they can't go to one of the other 2 services? Why ain't they in my service? I'm like, what are you doing?
Because like Joseph tested his brothers, you're being tested. Like, yo, so throughout this healing process, the only way an alcoholic can know that they are delivered from alcoholism is if they are in front of some alcohol and they don't have the taste for it, right? So whenever someone has betrayed or done you wrong, the way you know you are healing or have healed from it is that when you see them now, that it does not provoke those bad feelings. anymore
and it's
than they did before.
It's easy to say that, okay, oh man, I'm good. I'm not that person.
Right.
I've forgiven these people.
And so you in
I've
that
moved
situation.
forward, until you actually find yourself in front of, you know what I'm saying, the people who have done you wrong, much like Joseph. You know what I'm saying? These folks sold me into slavery, and now I got to help them. Not only help them, I have to save their lives, you know what I'm saying, by giving them what they need to be able to move forward. And one of the things I want to make sure we notate is the fact that Joseph's brothers' actions right now help facilitate his forgiveness. But understand that the reality of it is, in a lot of situations, that won't be our case. But God is still testing us and how it is that we will react. I tell people all the time, God doesn't give us the excuse to do something because our emotions are high or whatever the case may be. The Bible says, anger but sin not. And so, yeah, I understand you getting angry. I understand you getting frustrated. I understand you getting sad. All of that God understands. But he does not allow us to use that as an excuse to do something outside of his will. And so even as Joseph is going through this test, it's his belief in God that eventually makes him, you know what I'm saying, okay, man, I got to reveal this. And he breaks down and he can't hold it in anymore. I'm Joseph, and so on and so forth. Don't fear, you know what I'm saying? I'm not that person. And I understand that you guys doing what you did wasn't just you all, but it was a part of God's plan for me to get to where I am. Imagine the fact that Joseph, you know what I'm saying, he knew all this stuff. Okay, well, you guys gonna bow to me. I'm gonna be this great leader and all this stuff. But I think Joseph's tone would have been a little different if he knew he had to go through slavery, be in prison, and be sold off and all this other stuff to get where it is. Too often we don't think about the process of what it is we have to go through to get through, you know what I'm saying, or to get to where it is God is showing us. And a lot of times God will show us dreams and show us visions, but that journey, he kind of leave that a little vague for you, because he know if you see that journey, you might turn and run the other way.
So I wanna pause for a second, because there's somebody watching us on YouTube, and she says, please pray for her husband. His name is Ozzy, and he has lost his faith. So I want everyone to definitely keep Ozzy in your prayers, because one thing about it is life is not easy, right? Like life is hard. This journey is hard, and sometimes we will think that God has left us, or His Spirit has left us, and it's not the case. You know what I'm saying? And the hard truth that I had to understand was some of the hardships that I've endured in my life were because of choices that I made. You know what I'm saying? And that God is like, yo, if you think you got it, then, you know, have at it then. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it doesn't make it feel any better. And I just pray that his faith is restored, but like, not that his faith is restored based on the promises of God, but his faith is restored because that's what he wants to believe. I say, you know, and does that make sense that he wants to believe, right? Like, because the thing is that you know, it's easy to be like, oh, I got faith when God is promising you something, right? But when, you know, when he comes and says, I am that I am, that right there, you know what I'm saying? That right there should shake your faith a little bit and increase it.
And the truth is, like we often say, faith untested isn't faith.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of us don't realize that, you know, we pray and we ask God, Lord, please increase my faith, and Lord, please give me favor with this and different stuff like that. Well, in order for him to increase your faith, he has to show you victory in some situations that seem unsurmountable on your own, you know what I'm saying, ability, and show you some things that, you know, beyond the shadow of a doubt that I can't get myself out of. There's no way. I don't see an end game here, God, where I win. And there has to be those situations to where he shows up and you know that this was him. Absolutely. This had to be him, because nobody else even know. Absolutely. Nobody else even has the ability to help me with this situation. So it had to be God. And sometimes, like I say, those favorable situations, the unfavorable situations rather last a little longer than we would like. But God's perfect timing is just that, his perfect timing.
That's it. So we're praying that Ozzy,
Definitely be
that we're
praying for
declaring and decreeing that Ozzy will have an encounter that will definitely restore his faith, and that he understands that though the journey may be hard, it's never meant to harm us. It's never meant for our bad, but it's always to refine us, and it's always meant for our good. And everything that we go through in life isn't always God allowing, or it may not be God's journey, but sometimes the enemy comes in, and because of decisions we made or choices we made or whatever the case may be, or sometimes just because we breathing, the enemy comes and he like, yo, let me get at you for a minute. You know what I'm saying?
Tell people, say it like people used to tell me, dogs don't chase parked cars. The enemy don't chase something that ain't moving or something that's not a threat to it. So, I tell people, look on the bright side. When you feel like the enemy is attacking your life and things are happening in your life, understand that there's an assignment on your life, and the enemy is trying to distract you and get you to deviate from that assignment. And if he can get you to give up, then he can defeat you. But as long as he can keep you, as long as you decide to, keep going and keep fighting, you have, victory guaranteed. The Bible says, I tell people all the time, we don't win immediately, but we win definitely.
Absolutely. And I think it's important. I think it's just pause right here for a second, because I think that it is important to understand what Antoine just said about when the enemy comes, he does, dogs don't chase after parked cars, because what happens is your faith gives you confidence in your word. Your faith is what gives you confidence in your speech. Your faith is what gives you the confidence to go compel, men and women to Christ. Your faith is what, when you speak something that it'll come to pass, right? You know what I'm saying? Your faith is what says, I can declare and decree a thing and it shall come to pass. Like, that's your faith. So if the enemy can come from your faith, if your faith can be decreased, that means your mouth will be shut. That means that everything that we should be doing and being overcomers by the blood of the Lamb and the words of our testimony, now we no longer tell our testimony, because we don't have the faith that our testimony will actually change another individual's life. So what happens is that once the faith starts to decrease, it is our voice is, what is it called? It's not inversely proportional, it's directly proportional. So once your faith goes down, your voice goes down. Once your faith goes down, your confidence goes down. Once your faith goes down, everything that will allow you to be who you are in Christ, it starts to diminish. Mm-hmm. And so we have to be mindful and be able to call out that thing that makes us lack faith, or as soon as we start to feel like our faith is withering away, we have to understand that we have to tap back in. We have to tap back into our prayer life. We have to tap back in because during the pandemic, a lot of people became lonely because they were forsaking themselves, the gathering of the saints, right? And so now that we are in some sort of I don't want to call it normalcy,
relief,
our new norm, right? We're in our new norm where we can actually go into a church and we can actually gather together, because this don't work for everybody. The virtual don't work for everybody. So now that we are now in this space where we can go into the church house in our new norm, we have to sometimes hold on to the strength of the people on the left and the right of us, because when I get ready to pass out, I need you to be strong. I need this person to be strong to hold me up. So, but I can't do that on virtual, right?
Especially in this situation, you said your husband. The thing of the Bible talks about, and later on as we go through the Bible, it talks about the fallen man, you know what I'm saying? And it being better to, have somebody else, a brother to lift you up. And we have to understand that, especially in a husband and wife relationship, there are going to be times where my husband or my wife's faith may be weaker than mine, or maybe being tested, and they may not see as I see. It's our job and our our obligation to hold them up and to help get them through that period. And there'll be times where I have to be the strength, you know what I'm saying? I have to be the bearer of whatever it is that we're fighting or that we're coming up against. So sometimes if If they don't want to pray, I might have to just hold their hand and pray myself. You know, I may have to encourage them, you know, hold them or different things like that, just to, you know, get them back on the right track. But as long as, like I said, we are consistent, we have to make sure that we don't fall short and fall into the same mindset or fall into the same trap that they, you know, are currently dealing with. Because then if both of us give up, now it seems like we're in trouble.
We're in trouble. So.
But as long as one of us is still standing, we have the ability to help our brother, our sister, our husband, our wife, our mother, whichever, overcome situations like that. And so, like I said, make sure in this situation that you are truly his accountability partner. You know what I'm saying? So when he don't want to pray, or he don't, you know, want to be faith, or he may be saying things that you know, are opposite of, you know, what it resemble faith. You have to speak against those things. You have to declare in your house. You have to decree in your house, and make sure that you keep an atmosphere where God can be present.
Amen. So yeah, we'll keep Ozzy in prayer. Thank you. So going into chapter 46, now here it is that, well, in chapter 45, Joseph has revealed himself, and you know, like they go and they tell Israel, like, yo, Joseph is alive. And he like, yo, you gonna have to tell me more than just my son is alive, because I ain't believing you.
And he like,
you
y'all
know?
need to stop playing on me.
Right. You
I
know,
seen the coat. He probably still got the coat somewhere.
Probably in a glass case somewhere. He probably talked to it every day. So, you know what I'm saying? That's why they like, we can't let that happen to Benjamin, because Daddy over here, you know what I'm saying? He talks to the glass case. But here we go in chapter 46. See, I'm fired up now. So in chapter 46, here we go. Israel and all their families are moving to Egypt, and Pharaoh even helps them, you know, sends
provision for them,
everything.
He gives them great land, he gives them prosperity. Notice how every step of the way, as Jacob is going through different processes, every time he gets to new places, he don't just come to new places and I'm there and, oh man, I'm trying to figure stuff out. God is making advanced provision for him every time he sends him somewhere else. He sends them to Egypt, and they've already set up all this great stuff for them. Mind you, this is in the middle of a famine. So it ain't like the land is plentiful and all this stuff. He set up all this stuff for them, gave them, and got them jobs. Got them jobs with Pharaoh.
So yeah, like chapter 46 is talking about, it even starts going through the lineage again. We see this a lot in Genesis about the lineage. So it starts talking about these are the names of the sons of Israel, which are Jacob and his descendants who went to Egypt. It says Reuben was the firstborn, and then it goes through Reuben's sons. And then it talks about the sons of Simeon, the sons of Levi, the sons of Judah, the sons of Issachar, the sons of Zebulun, the sons of Leah born to Jacob and Padam Aram, besides his daughter Dinah. I say Dinah. What you say? Dinah. I say Dinah. These sons and daughters of his were 33 in all. You got it in you?
No, I'm good.
You ain't got 33 in you?
I'm good.
Okay, anyway. So the sons of Gad, the sons of Asher.
33?
These are the children born to Jacob and Zilpah, who Laban had given to his daughter Leah, 16 in all. The sons of Jacob's wife, Rachel, and the sons of Benjamin, the sons of Rachel who were born to Jacob, 14 in all. The sons of Dan, the sons of Naphtali, and these were the sons born to Jacob by Bilhah, whom Laban had given to his daughter Rachel, 7 in all. So they went through the lineage, and we'll say this time and time again until we get all the way to Jesus, because the lineage is important for you to be able to know the lineage of Jesus and how it traces back and who it actually went through, right? Go ahead.
I was just making sure we notate one of the things that, like I said, when I was talking about them Joseph basically setting it up for them to have jobs, he realized, okay, when he talked to Pharaoh about his brothers and stuff like that, and showed, like you say, we 33 strong just in children, not to mention family and the children's children and so on and so forth, or servants that they had and all that stuff. Egyptians wouldn't willingly accept living with the Hebrews at that point, but and Jacob actually wanted to be set aside from them anyway, but he set it up to where they were living with them, but they were also prosperous because they benefited from the fact that Pharaoh understood that they had a skill set that would lend to what was going on in the time, and them, taking good care of the herds and stuff like that. So even that was important. When they came, with the famine, and okay, well, we got a skill set to add to sustaining and furthering success. Not just, oh, we're moving here and we're taking from what you all have.
And it was also a thing, and this brings it to mind about maybe why he's still referred to as Jacob. And let me tell you why, because Jacob knew how to trick Pharaoh into getting what they wanted. So he told his father and his brothers, like, yo,
he told them what
the
to say
shepherds,
basically when they visited Pharaoh.
Right. So like it's the thing where in 46, the last verse is 46, it says, then you will be allowed to settle in the region of Goshen, for all shepherds are detestable to the Egyptians. Yeah. So he knew what to tell them, to tell Pharaoh, to get him to say, okay, y'all can go out there. Y'all don't have to stay here. You don't have to be with us. Y'all can go out there. So maybe that's why he's still being called Jacob, because even though,
but I don't think it really was deception at this point. It was just realizing, to me at this point, I'm thinking it's more so wisdom than deception, because it's like, okay, well, if you give Pharaoh this information, once Pharaoh realizes this, he'll willingly give you guys what you're asking, because they wanted to be apart from Pharaoh's, from the Egyptians. They didn't want to live, necessarily amongst the Egyptians, but they also, wanted to reap the benefits of, okay, well, this is what, because God told him to, take him and his people and go ahead and move as Joseph is instructing, and Pharaoh is instructing at this time.
Went to Beersheba,
so he telling him to go ahead and do this, and this is what you're supposed to go. And so God still allows, again, Joseph and his abilities, his instructions.
Joseph done whispered in Jacob in, Jacob done ran.
He's telling him, hey, look, this is what you do, so on and so forth. And when he gets through, they do exactly as Joseph's saying.
But they got what they want.
And they get what they want, and the Egyptians get what they want. And like I say, it's not a situation where we have with the Edomites back with Esau and the Edomites.
I mean, I get it. I'm just saying, Joseph told Jacob what he needed to know. Definitely. To trick Pharaoh.
Why you keep saying trick?
Because like he told him what he needed to tell you. Hey, listen, it is what it is, whatever. And so, they're able to go to Goshen. And so throughout 47, it's just giving back history on the famine. It's talking about the land, talking about the favor that they received from Pharaoh. What else we going through? Down at 27, now the Israelites settled in Egypt and the region of Goshen. They acquired property, and there they were fruitful and increased greatly in numbers. So Jacob and Joseph died in Egypt. So let's jump down to verse 28. It says Jacob lived in Egypt 17 years, and the years of his life were 147. When the time drew near for Israel to die, he called for his son Joseph and said to him, if I have found favor in your eyes, put your hand under my thigh and promise that you will show me kindness and faithfulness. Do not bury me in Egypt.
I got a question.
What?
So does anybody remember any other time the oldest son is receiving this benefit? Does anybody know remember who the oldest son was?
Reuben.
Reuben was the oldest son. Does anybody remember why Reuben did not get this blessing?
He was a coward.
No, that's not it. Ms. Woolridge, go ahead.
Well, because I think it was because Reuben had defiled his father's bed.
That's it.
Yeah.
Reuben had slept with one of his father's concubines.
Yep. Yep.
So, and remember when God told Joseph, he told him, your hands will close your father's eyes. So this is all of what God told Joseph actually coming to pass. And Israel said, do not bury me in Egypt, but when I rest with my fathers, carry me out of Egypt and bury me where they are buried. And so Joseph says, I will do as you say. And Israel says, swear to me, he said. Then Joseph swore to him, and Israel worshiped as he leaned on the top of his staff. And we go into chapter 48, where Manasseh and Ephraim, this is where in chapter 48 is where, when I said Jacob and Joseph died in Egypt, it wasn't in 47. Just follow it. That's where it starts to tell the deterioration of Jacob, Israel. That starts at verse 28, 47 and 28. So now we're in chapter 48, and Joseph was told, your father is ill. And so he took his two sons, Manasseh and Ephraim, along with him. And they told Jacob, your son Joseph has come to you. Israel rallied his strength and sat up in the bed. And so it's just going through, and it's just telling you about the process that Israel went through as he was departing life. So there's key verses that are in there. I do want to go back because I thought you was going to ask about the hand under the thigh.
We've been over it a few times with other examples with Abraham and his servants. So I mean,
it says putting a hand under the thigh was a sign of making a promise,
right,
much like shaking hands.
Right. And
okay.
remember when Abraham's servant went to go find a wife for his son, remember they did the same thing, basically in a promise for him to go find a wife that wasn't a Canaanite, you know what I'm saying, when he did it. And so he made them promise to go, and that's how they went and got, yeah. So we kind of went over it again, so that's why I didn't bring it back up.
So chapter 48, it says, Jacob gave Ephraim instead of his older brother Manasseh the greater blessing. Jacob gave Ephraim instead of his older brother Manasseh the greater blessing. When Joseph objected, Jacob refused to listen because God told him that Ephraim would become greater. God often works in unexpected ways. When he chooses people to fulfill his plans, he always goes deeper than appearance, tradition, or position. Listen to that. He sometimes surprises us by choosing the less obvious person, at least by human reasoning. God can use you to carry out his plans, even if you don't think you have all the qualifications. To them he calls, he qualifies.
This is why the Bible tells us that, we don't have, we don't see as God sees. His ways are not our ways, his thoughts are not our thoughts. And so God looks at the heart of man versus, like you said, the position, title, or authority of men. This is why I tell people all the time, when I go into a job, I'm not really worried about what whom else's position is or whatever the case may be, as long as I operate in, integrity and doing what I'm supposed to do, it always works out for me.
So basically, in chapter 48, Jacob was able to see his seed. And he mentioned, I never thought that he was talking to Joseph. And he said, I thought I'd never see you again. And not only was he able to see Joseph, but he was able to see Joseph's children as well. So let's see. They brought him close to him, 14, but Israel reached out his right hand and put it on Ephraim's head, though he was the younger, and crossing his arms, he put his left hand on Manasseh's head. Then he blessed Joseph and said, may the God before whom my fathers Abraham and Isaac walked, the God who has been my shepherd and the life to this day, the angel who has delivered me from all harm, may he bless these boys. May they be called by my name and the names of my fathers Abraham and Isaac, and may they increase greatly upon the earth. And so if you skip down, it says, if you skip down to 20, he said, he blessed them that day and said, In your name will Israel pronounce this blessing. May God make you Ephraim and Manasseh. So he put Ephraim ahead of Manasseh. And then Israel said to Joseph, I'm about to die, but God will be with you and take you back to the land of your fathers, and to you as one who is over your brothers. I give the ridge of land I took from the Amorites with my sword and my bow.
And it talks about in this that that in this Jacob is giving these young boys basically in future tense the land occupied at that current time by the Philistines and the Canaanites, and the gifts becoming reality when the tribes of Ephraim and Manasseh occupied the east and west sides of the Jordan River.
So what is it? We in 49 now. It says Jacob blessed each one of the sons and then made a prediction about each one's future. The way the men had lived played an important part in Jacob's blessing and prophecy. It says our past also affects our present and future. How many of us know that our past definitely affects our present and our future? By sunrise tomorrow, our actions of today will have become a part of the past, yet they will already have begun to shape the future. What actions can you choose or avoid that will possibly shape your future? I can choose to go to bed on time so that I ain't tired tomorrow.
Yeah, that's
for work. That's what I was
one of
thinking.
many you should probably implement in life.
I can choose to go to bed on time. Listen, you know what? We grown now. You know how when we was kids, we want to stay up all night. You know what I'm saying? I think I need to tell my brain that I'm grown now. I don't have to prove anything. I'm not a kid. I do not have to stay up till 1 o'clock in the morning.
We want to stay up all night because we didn't have no real responsibility and no real weight on our life.
Man, I be staying up. Sometimes I be working though. So, whatever. So go ahead.
No, I was just going to say in 49, one of the things, again, I talked about this a little bit earlier. It talks about basically the oldest son, being the person who was supposed to receive the double inheritance. But in this case, Reuben lost his special honor, one unstable and untrustworthy, especially in his younger days. He had gone so far as to sleep with one of his father's concubines. Jacob could not give the birthright blessing to such a dishonorable son. And so it was a situation to where in Reuben's mind, man, this years later, he probably felt like he got away with this and nothing, I'm good, ain't nothing gonna happen. He found out on Jacob's deathbed that, hey, remember when you did such and such way back when? Yeah, you kind of wrote yourself out of that double blessing inheritance that you was probably looking so forward to getting. Go ahead, Miss Woodridge.
I'm just gonna touch back on. I just wanted to touch back on Ephraim and Manasseh's right. They're going to play a very important part going forward. So don't forget their names because they're going to play a very important part going forward.
Absolutely.
And you'll understand why Joseph gave them the blessing that he did going forward.
That's good. And just so for reference, chapter 49, verse 4 is the reason it goes into why Benjamin was not given the birthright. So if you're taking notes, chapter 49, verse 4, if anybody asks you where in the Bible can you find the reason why Jacob did not give the birthright, to Reuben.
Right.
Reuben, I'm saying Benjamin. Reuben, if anyone asks you why or where, can you find in the Bible why it is that Jacob or Israel did not give the birthright to Reuben? It's in chapter 49, verse
3 and 4.
3 and 4. So skipping down, it says, why was Judah known for selling Joseph into slavery and trying to defraud his daughter-in-law so greatly blessed? It said God has chosen Judah to be the ancestor of Israel's line of kings. This is the meaning of the scepter will not depart from Judah. This may have been due to Judah's dramatic change of character. Judah's line would produce the promised Messiah, Jesus. And then verse 10 says, until he comes to whom it belongs. It may also be translated until Shiloh comes. What is Shiloh? The meaning of this difficult passage is disputed. Shiloh may be another name for the Messiah because its literal meaning is sent. Shiloh might also refer to the tent of meeting set up at the city of Shiloh. That's, to be inferred, interpreted. And so here we go. Let's see, let's go back because it goes down and starts telling names, but unless you have memorized all the sons and the lineage, then you know what I'm saying, like you might have to flip back and forth. So you might have to go from chapter 49 back to I think it's 47 to find out who Dan is. You know what I'm saying? Like which child is Dan, or which grandchild is Dan, and which Gad, Asher, Naphtali, and finding out who these people were to better understand chapter 49. Does that make sense? You're going to have to flip back and forth to find out who the people were. And it explains, like Asher's food will be rich. He will provide delicacies fit for a king. If you go back, it starts at, then Jacob called, verse number 1 says, then Jacob called for his sons and said, gather around so I can tell you what will happen to you in days to come. So he literally went through each one of them and said what's happening.
All 33 of them.
Right. So
all 33 children. But again, in this time, like I said, this was the practice thing that basically you knew, okay, is my time is coming near. So before you passed, much like we seen with Abraham or earlier people in the Bible, that you begin to, bless your sons or bless your seed, before you leave, and let them know, hey, this is, basically what your inheritance is. Basically, as we see here, your actions weighed a lot into what it is that you did or did not receive, how you lived prior to, your father passing.
So I'm gonna run it. Reuben, you are my firstborn, my might, the first sign of my strength, excelling in honor, excelling in power. Turbulent as the waters, you will no longer excel, for you went up into your father's bed onto my couch and defiled it. Simeon and Levi are brothers. Their swords are weapons of violence. Let me not enter their council. Let me not join their assembly, for they have killed men in their anger and hamstrung oxen as they please. Cursed be their anger so fierce and their fury so cruel. I will scatter them in Jacob and disperse them in Israel. Judah, your brothers will praise you. Your hand will be on the neck of your enemies. Your father's sons will bow down to you. You are a lion's cub, O Judah. You return from the prey, my son. Like a lion, he crouches and lies down, like a lioness who dares to rouse him. The scepter will not depart from Judah, nor the ruler's staff from between his feet, until he comes to whom it belongs, and the obedience of the nations is his. He will tether his donkey to a vine, his coat to the choicest branch. He will wash his garments in wine, his robes in the blood of grapes. His eyes will be darker than wine, his teeth whiter than milk. Come on, teeth. Zebulun will live by the seashore and become a haven for ships. His border will extend toward Sidon. Issachar is a raw-boned donkey lying down between two saddlebags. When he sees how good is his resting place and how pleasant is his land, he will bend his shoulder to the burden and submit to forced labor. Dan will provide justice for his people as one of the tribes of Israel. Dan will be a serpent by the roadside, a viper along the path that bites the horse's heel so that its rider tumbles backward. I look for your deliverance, O Lord. Gad will be attacked by a band of raiders, but he will attack them at their heels. Asher's food will be rich. He will provide delicacies fit for a king. Naphtali is a doe set free that bears beautiful fawns. Joseph is a fruitful vine near a spring whose branches climb over a wall. With bitterness, archers attacked him. They shot at him with hostility, but his bow remained steady, and his strong arm stayed limber because of the hand of the mighty one of Jacob, because of the shepherd, because of the rock of Israel, because of your father's God who helps you, because of the Almighty who blesses you with blessings of the heavens above, blessings of the deep that lies below, blessings of the breast and womb. Your father's blessings are greater than the blessings of the ancient mountains, than the bounty of the age-old hills. Let all these rest on the head of Joseph, on the brow of the prince among his brothers. Benjamin is a ravenous wolf. In the morning, he devours the prey. In the evening, he divides the plunder. All these are the 12 tribes of Israel. And this is what their father said to them when he blessed them, giving each the blessing appropriate to him. Now, the reason why I said jump back, so you can know which son belonged to which mother. Because if you look in there was a lot. He went deep with two of them. He went deep with Joseph and he went deep with Judah. Go back and see, who their mothers were and, their lineage and things like that. It says in verse 29, it says, then God gave them these instructions. I'm about to be gathered to my people. Bury me with my fathers in the cave in the field of Ephron and the Hittite, the cave in the field of Machpelah near Mamre in Canaan, which Abraham bought as a burial place from Ephron the Hittite, along with the field. There, Abraham and his wife Sarah were buried. There, Isaac and his wife Rebekah were buried. And there, I buried Leah. The field and the cave in it were bought from the Hittites.
If you remember, this is the place where they were trying to give Abraham the land, but he actually wound up saying that no, he didn't want them to give it to him, that he paid for it, I believe, with 400 pieces of silver.
It says, and in verse 33, it says, when Jacob had finished giving instructions to his son, he drew his feet up into the bed, breathed his last, and was gathered to his people. And then in chapter 50, it was talking about, in the beginning parts of it, it's talking about Joseph grieving his father and having to embalm him. Now, here we go. Here's another revelation when you talk about why you embalm, why people embalm, right? So in chapter 50, it says, then Joseph directed, that's verse 2, it says, then Joseph directed the physicians in his service to embalm his father Israel. So the physicians embalmed him, taking a full 40 days, for that was the time required for embalming, and the Egyptians mourned him 70 days. When the days of mourning had passed, Joseph said to Pharaoh's court, if I have found favor in your eyes, speak to Pharaoh for me. Tell him, my father made me swear an oath and said, I'm about to die. Bury me in the tomb I dug for myself in the land of Canaan. Now let me go up and bury my father, then I will return. Pharaoh said, go up and bury your father as he made you swear to do.
One of the things, embalming wasn't really something that the Israelites had done or practiced in the past. It was something that Joseph had learned in his time in Egypt. And I think one of the reasons he did this, because basically embalming in the Egyptian prolongs the body, the natural body, here in the flesh. And so it keeps the decaying and the smelling and different stuff like that away. And so I think he looked at it as a way of honoring his father. It also talks about, like she was saying, the allowing yourself a healthy amount of time to grieve. Go ahead, Ms. Woodward.
Yeah, the purpose for the embalming in the Egyptian lifestyle was because they mourned you for a long time. So what they would have was like these spectacular celebrations to honor you. So they kept you out of ground for
a long time.
Like they said, they mourned for 40 days and the Egyptians mourned for 70 days.
No.
So that's a long time.
Absolutely.
And somebody above ground.
Yeah. And also with
and then remember, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
But you remember when you go back to the Egyptians, like the pharaohs and different things like that, they weren't buried in the ground.
No. They were buried in tombs.
They were put in tombs, in caves and different things like that. So if you didn't embalm them, you was thinking, animals possibly eat you or whatever. So, but Hebrew culture was not such even today. In Hebrew culture, I think you have to be in the ground within 3 days, and they do not embalm.
And see, so now I'll say the royalty was, like you said, buried in tombs in Egypt. I think the regular people were actually buried in tombs, but they still went through the same ritual of removing the organs and purifying them well, it's funny. I was actually watching something on the History Channel about this just a few days ago, to where they put scented oils and things of that on the body because in Egyptian, they believe that that body is supposed to be preserved because even in the afterlife, it's still, it's supposed to return to their gods or whatever the case may be, and that ritual. But like I said, this was something that they didn't practice, but and like you were saying, the royal Egyptians, they were buried in tombs. They were buried with great sarcophagus and all type of stuff like that. And so this was something that Joseph had now lived in for years. You know what I'm saying? So I'm sure this was a way he felt he was honoring his father. You know what I'm saying, and still keeping in I guess almost like mixing the two, the benefit of the two. And it said he actually mourned Jacob for a long time. So, it also allowed him to mourn his father even longer, and practice that belief.
And I just want to point out that because Jacob said that he was a shepherd and they were actually able to go to Goshen, the only reason why Jacob was able to get embalmed was because Joseph asked. He received favor in death even through Joseph because it was not the tradition for them to embalm the shepherds. It was only really for the Egyptians. So he received favor in death through his son because Joseph sort of mixed culture. You know what I'm saying? Like okay, y'all embalm my daddy. So, you know what I'm saying? We all can mourn for my daddy because the people loved him. The people loved him. Where we going? It says he was burying his father. Let's go over to verse 12. Jacob's sons did as he had commanded them. They carried him to the land of Canaan and buried him in the cave in the field of Machpelah, near Mamre, which Abraham had bought as a burial place from Ephron the Hittite, along with the field. After burying his father, Joseph returned to Egypt together with his brother and all the others who had gone with him to bury his father. It says, now here we go. His brothers and they mind get to wondering. In verse 15, it says, when Joseph's brothers saw that their father was dead, they said, what if Joseph holds a grudge against us and pays us back for all the wrongs we did to him? So they sent word to Joseph saying, your father left these instructions before he died. This is what you are to say to Joseph. I ask you to forgive your brothers the sins and the wrongs they committed in treating you so badly. Now, please forgive the sins of the servants of God of your father. When their message came to him, Joseph wept. His brothers then came and threw themselves down before him. We are your slaves, they said. But Joseph said to them, don't be afraid. Am I in the place of God? You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives. So then don't be afraid. I will provide for you and your children. And he reassured them and spoke kindly to them. Verse 22 says, Joseph stayed in Egypt along with all his father's family. He lived 110 years and saw the third generation of Ephraim's children. So that means third generation of Ephraim's children. So Ephraim is his child.
So that means 4 generations.
That's his grandchildren, great-grandchildren, great-great-grandchildren, right? And so it says, also the children of Machir, son of Manasseh, were placed at birth on Joseph's knees. Then 24 says, then Joseph said to his brothers, I'm about to die, but God will surely come to your aid and take you up out of this land to the land he promised on oath to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And Joseph made the sons of Israel swear an oath and said, God will surely come to your aid, and then you must carry my bones up from this place. So verse 26 says, so Joseph died at the age of 110, and after they embalmed him, he was placed in a coffin in Egypt. We made it. We made it. We made it to the end. We made it to the end. So in the in my study Bible, it's certain people in there that it highlighted throughout Genesis and what their strengths and weaknesses are and what we could learn from them.
It also highlights some of the notable descendants of Jacob's children, like Levi. It says that Aaron, Moses, Eli, John the Baptist were all descendants of his. Judah, like we said earlier, David and Jesus were descendants of his. Dan, Samson was a descendant of his.
It was question about Elijah.
It was. It don't really. I guess it wasn't clear with them. But Joseph's notable descendants were Joshua, Gideon, and Samuel. Benjamin's notable descendants were Saul, Esther, and Paul. Interesting. Man. So I hope y'all had fun.
We made it.
We finished Genesis. We what's the next?
Exodus. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus.
No. I'm saying, but we had we did a reading last week. What was it? Exodus 1 through 10, was it?
Yeah.
1 through 15.
I think I don't remember. But we will start with Exodus next week. I think we said 1 through 15.
1 through 15. Okay.
Because it'll start with the first couple of chapters about Moses, and then 5 through 15 about the plagues and the Exodus.
So I'm sure most of y'all got plenty of Moses stuff. I'm sure if y'all, especially if y'all got kids, because these a lot of Bible stories are about Bible study stories are about Moses, and church stories, and they got movies about Moses.
The Prince of Egypt.
Not only that, but the Ten Commandments movie. I'm pretty sure everybody, grandma made them watch it and on down.
Man, real talk.
I don't know too many people who ain't seen the Ten Commandment movie.
So I just want to put this plug in there because we out here right now, right? So if you guys haven't seen, I created an amazing planner. It is ministry and marketplace, but I want to tell you guys a secret. So one of the perks that the people who get on the wait list gets is an entire packet of the books of the Bible and the breaks down. Like you get your own, I'm mailing it to you. You'll get your own little pamphlet. I got to put it together, but it's all the books of the Bible and it goes through the chapters. It even tells you key verses in each one of the books of the Bible, key people in each one of the books of the Bible. And it breaks down. I can't, because I be trying to think. I'm trying to visualize it. But you'll get that packet, but only the people on the wait list will get it. So it's a perk of being on the wait list to purchase the planner.
And the wait list closes out tonight.
Oh, it closes tonight at 11:59. After 11:59, you cannot get the planner. And also,
you can get the planner. You can't get on the wait list.
Well, you can't get on the wait list. You can't get the perks from being on the wait list. Because another one of the perks of being on the wait list is you get a 10% discount off the planner. And you get some other goodies too. So you guys go get on the wait list for the planner. And the link will actually go out tomorrow for pre-sale for the planner. And I'm excited about it because there is literally an entire section about Bible study, and it's Bible study tips in there along with stickers where you can actually plan your study out, because, sometimes you might miss a Monday, whatever, or you might go ahead. So you can literally take like the sticker of 1 Samuel and put it on the date and say, okay, this is the date that I'm going to start studying 1 Samuel. Keep yourself accountable and all of that. So yeah, I'm excited about this planner. It's definitely for the ministry and the marketplace. So with that being said, any other questions, comments, or concerns? I see a baby. Oh, I see a baby. That's an itty bitty baby. So if that be all, make sure that you have read Exodus chapters 1 through 15 for next week. Invite somebody to the Bible study. Share the video of the Bible study. So we can definitely have a whole party, a Bible study party.
For real.
You got anything?
I'm glad we knocked out. We down one down. 65 to go.
It took us like 6 weeks to get through. No, but we started this in January, right? Oh
But-
gosh,
but-
it took
but-
us 2 months, 3 months.
But I'm kind of glad, like I say, that we kind of diving through it and, you know, getting a little bit more in depth. So I'm having fun.
Absolutely.
I hope y'all are too.
Absolutely.
Not, you know, like we said earlier, please be mindful, not just, you know, we want to pray for everybody. So as you're on the Bible study, you know, take a little time, look at the names, pray for the different people who are, you know, signing on and checking on. You know, just pray for their family members, just pray for people in general. It's a lot going on in the world, but, you know, God has promised us that, you know, we'll eat the good of the land, that, you know, we'll experience things. And even in the middle of famine, as we see in the story of Joseph, you know, God understands that famine and calamity and different things of that nature comes upon us, you know, in our natural lives, but he's already made provision. Sometimes we just have to make sure we're in tune with God in his word and readily accessible to hear and move as he's telling us to move. Because understand this, had Jacob been stubborn and not listened to God and move where he was told to move, that famine would have took him and his probably entire bloodline out.
Well, all
So
right.
we're going to close out in prayer.
May the Lord watch. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Okay, I
Go
can't.
ahead.
Father God, we thank you for this amazing opportunity, oh God. We thank you for the privilege, oh God, to be in your presence, oh God. We come to you seeking your word, oh God, and seeking just understanding and clarity, oh God. We thank you, oh God, that you are allowing us wisdom, oh God, and not just hoarding knowledge, oh God, but we're taking this wisdom, we're applying these principles, and we're applying them to our lives, oh God, and not only our lives, but also the lives of others, oh God. We're, oh God, being resource centers, oh God, and we're being, oh God, covenant believers, oh God. We're being studiers of your word, oh God. And we're being, oh God, not just a people who would read, but a people who would do, oh God. We thank you, oh God. We believe you, oh God. Lord, we ask that you would bless each and every person, oh God, who is here, oh God. Lord, increase our favor, oh God. Increase our faith, oh God. Lord Jesus, allow, oh God, Ozzy, oh God, the ability, oh God, to see you in the midst of the situation, whatever it may be, oh God. Allow him to see your presence. Allow him to understand, oh God, your wisdom and your knowledge, oh God, supersedes the current situation, oh God. We thank and praise you, oh God, even for his wife, oh God, that came on and boldly, oh God, acknowledged, oh God, that there is need for help, oh God, in the situation. And Lord, we know that you are a helper, oh God. We know that you are Jehovah Jireh, oh God. We know that you provide for us, oh God, that you are a way maker, oh God, in every situation, oh God. And so we know that you order our steps, oh God, and we believe as you order our steps, oh God, that you would come, oh God, boldly, oh God, allowing doors to open, oh God, allow favorable situations to take place, oh God. Allow us, oh God, to close doors, oh God, now that we could not close in years past, oh God. And, oh God, allow them never to be open, oh God, to cause us harm, hurt, or danger again, oh God. Cause favor to open doors before we ever even turn the corner, oh God. Allow, Lord, your favor to greet us, oh God, before we even get out of bed. Lord, give us your destiny, give us your purpose for us, oh God, and allow us to be, oh God, everything that you have aligned and allow you desire us to be, oh God. Take our willing, oh God, submission, multiply it, amplify it, oh God, and allow it to do what it is set out to do, oh God. We thank you, oh God, for this very Bible study. We thank you for your word, oh God, that comes to give us light, oh God, in dark situations. We believe all of these things and know them to be so, oh God, and we believe and confess it over our lives daily. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. See y'all next Monday.
Peace out.
Bye. Wait, I don't even know. Where is my mouse? Oh, there you go.